In a development that I'm sure a lot of people did not expect, members of Ben Shapiro's own audience have been, well, lashing out against Shapiro and his commentary following, the assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Now, his own fans are calling him out for being completely out of touch with nearly all Americans who do absolutely hate our broken healthcare system.
Oh my God.
A lot of these elitists, or a lot of, I should say, journalists or news pundits, they're trying to present this situation similar to the Daniel Penny, Jordan Neely situation, which they're trying to make it seem like, okay, every conservative is on Daniel Penny's side, and then the liberal and progressives are on Jordan Neely's side. They're trying to do the same thing and present this to us as if anybody who's in favor of the United Healthcare CEO and supporting them and saying that they didn't deserve this, they're trying to say that those are all the conservatives. Meanwhile, you see some people celebrating or some people not showing as much empathy for the United Healthcare CEO being shot and understanding, I don't know if understanding is the right word, but not showing as much empathy to the CEO, and even some people supporting and praising some of the things that the gentleman, that the young man Luigi did. I didn't mean to say, I'm not trying to pick sides, all right? We're not trying to pick sides. In my opinion, I already told y'all what it is. My side, where I stand on, is very simple. It's terrible that the person that the gentleman got shot. As a matter of fact, I don't even know. I didn't even know if the family would want me saying his name or anything like that. So that's why he didn't ask to be put in the news, the United Healthcare CEO. So it's terrible that the CEO got killed, and it's terrible what goes on. Not to say that that's on the Luigi side, but it is terrible what goes on as far as with the insurance industry, in my opinion. And it's one of those industries where you profit. Think about this. You profit from holding back care, neglecting people of certain care, neglecting them from possibly saving their lives, improving their health conditions, all these different things. You make more money when you deny them care. I don't want to be in that type of industry. I don't want to be in that type of industry. I don't want to be in that type of line of work. I do not want to make money off of other people suffering. That's just not what I'm into. And when people are trying to sell you insurance, especially when it comes to health insurance or life insurance, they're always basing it off of a lot of fear, right? Well, what if something happens to you? This will cover you. So whenever you're in that type of industry where you're selling something off of fear, where you make and you profit based off of not being or telling that person that, hey, we can't provide you care, you're being incentivized to make more money by telling them they're not going to have access to care. That's a dangerous business to be in. So let me just preface it with that. And I actually had the opportunity to sell life insurance, and they always post it as financial planning, right? A lot of these industries. I forget who I was working with, and I got an offer from them, and I believe it was like Liberty Mutual. Maybe I forget. It's a spot in Morristown, New Jersey, but I just didn't feel right about talking to people about their life insurance. Well, when you die, this. I just didn't feel comfortable about it. Neither here nor there. People do what they do. To each their own. I'm just talking about my personal experience. All right, so let's get into the first video. So the first video is the TYT video with Ben Shapiro. The next video was going to be Joe Rogan and Bill Burr. Actually, the third video is going to be Joe Rogan and Bill Burr. And then the second one is going to be Piers Morgan. Had a few different people join his show. One of them was Brianna, who used to be on The Hill. So it was interesting to get her perspective on this because I haven't seen her a lot since she left or was fired or whatever the situation was. But let's tap in with TYT, with Senk and Anna. I'll show y'all this video. You guys give me your thoughts because, like I said, I think people are becoming out of touch by always trying to see things through a lens of conservative versus liberal, left versus right, Democrat versus Republican. And all these issues are not monolithic when it comes to this group aligns with this view, this group aligns with this view. And we're seeing that, I think, come to light more so in the United Healthcare CEO shooting compared to the Daniel Penny and Jordan Neely situation. So let me make sure that the screen is shared for y'all. And y'all know where I like to be in the cut. And we'll go from there. Let's go.
Socialist Nathan Robinson, a complete useless leech on the ass of society, posted himself, quote, "Live your life in such a way that people will be sad when you die." That was above a screen cap of a New York Times headline that said, "Torrent of hate for health insurance industry follows CEO's killing." That piece from the New York Times is all about people who apparently were perfectly fine with the murder of Brian Thompson on the streets of New York City.
In a development that I'm sure a lot of people did not expect, members of Ben Shapiro's own audience have been, well, lashing out against Shapiro and his commentary following, the assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Now, his own fans are calling him out for being completely out of touch with nearly all Americans who do absolutely hate our broken healthcare system. And so he published a video titled "The Evil Revolutionary Left Cheers Murder." Now, right off the bat, he's making a mistake by thinking that it's only people on the left who have been cheering on the murder or assassination of that executive. Fact of the matter is, a lot of people across the political spectrum had been either sharing that they feel no empathy for Brian Thompson or even going so far as to celebrating it. And if you take a look at the thumbnail for the video, he has an image of Taylor Lorenz, who also, was explaining why it is that people are celebrating this, or why people would want a United Healthcare CEO dead.
And if you remember, if you guys tapped into the show, I believe we either reviewed her we reviewed her on Wednesday, Taylor Lorenz, when she came out and she was in the debate. It was Mark Lamont Hill. It was Tammy Lauren, or I forget her name. Tammy Lauren, I think. And then it was Pierce Morgan and this lady, Taylor Lorenz. And I believe she actually got fired from being a contributor wherever she was working. And she started off her statement saying that, there's a feeling of joy. And she never even really got to finish the sentence. She did correct herself. She kind of corrected herself right there in the sentence, but and they eventually did say that she didn't mean to say that she felt joyful with Brian Thompson being shot, the United Healthcare CEO. However, she was saying that she was she was saying that she was glad that not in his death, but she was happy that this is now a situation that's being brought to light. So y'all take that however y'all want to take it, but just kind of giving y'all some context around that.
Shapiro went well beyond just condemning messages of joy or mockery about the shooting. That alone is totally understandable. In fact, we have done that ourselves. I don't ever want to encourage violence or murder. I don't think that's the way to solve the issues that we're having with our healthcare system. But he went to some extreme lengths to defend Thompson and the screwed up predatory system he was a major player in. Take a look.
Unfortunately, bubbling under the surface of all this is something very serious, really serious. What is that serious thing? The revolutionary left is creeping into the mainstream. The shooting of Thompson has unleashed a wave of evil from members of the left. Thompson was not a criminal. He wasn't even an advocate of death, the way, for example, abortion or euthanasia advocates are. Brian Thompson's great.
See, this is what I mean when you say the whole left versus right. When I was saying the left versus right, in my opinion, Ben Shapiro and a lot of other pundits, they're out of touch and they're trying to make this something that it's not. And them trying to make it something like it's not is making them appear to be perhaps even more out of touch than they actually are. They're trying to take a side and prove that the side that they take on the conservative side, standing up for the United Healthcare CEO, is the righteous thing to do. And they're assuming that all conservatives align that same way. That's the mistake. They're also making the mistake of thinking that it's only the lunatic lefties, right? It's only the lunatic lefties, those liberals, those progressives that are celebrating or at least not feeling empathy for the United Healthcare CEO, and maybe even showing some empathy for the young man, Luigi. So he's out of touch when it comes to that. He's out of touch, and it just shows, in my opinion, this high level of privilege and elitism. When you talk about elitism, he's so high up that he can't even see that it's all the working class people complaining about this type of thing. A lot of people, whether you're left or right, a lot of people have experienced being denied for certain care that would have significantly improved their life. And perhaps even worse, a lot of people have maybe lost loved ones because they were denied access to certain care. And who knows? It's one of those situations where, let's say that your loved one was denied and they eventually passed away. That family member or those family members are always going to wonder in their mind and always perhaps have a certain level of hatred for that particular situation around that particular insurance company, whoever that is. And I believe United Healthcare they deny at a much greater rate than a lot of the other companies. So when you're in this type of business, once again, in this type of industry, it's not just black and white, how Ben Shapiro is trying to present it black and white as far as a political landscape. It may be black and white, but it's not on the political spectrum, how he's trying to identify conservative versus liberal. Just my opinion, though. Let's keep going.
Sin, according to these people, is that he was the head of a company that exists within a mixed private-public healthcare framework, and that he did his job, because that's how health insurance actually works. Some things are covered and some things are not. And you may not like the application of the coverage, and it may be bad. That is not an excuse for murder.
So in case.
Now, of course, definitely not an excuse for murder. And one thing that I will say, because there does have to be a certain level of accountability put on people, especially living in America, where we have some of the most privilege of all countries, but yet we do not take our health as seriously as other countries. We just don't. We have some of the highest obesity rates, it seems like everybody's struggling with diabetes, all of these different diseases that are associated with us simply not taking our health seriously. It shows that Americans could do a lot better. Now, if we're going to complain about the insurance companies and the things that they're covering, and we know that it's an industry that denies a lot of necessary care, then shouldn't the onus and responsibility be on us to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in compromising positions so that we are more likely than if we are healthy, we're more likely to have to need this particular care that we may not have access to because we know that they could always deny us. We have to take more of an onus and responsibility on ourselves, or make sure that we got enough money laying around, because this is just the landscape. If we're saying that this is the insurance industry across the board, then that means that we need to properly prepare and we need to make sense of the insurance industry if we know that us and our family members are likely going to need this at some point. All right. Now, if you're saying that that's not the landscape and that United Healthcare is just different than other ones, then people should feel free to go with another insurance company. Shame on you for going with that insurance company if you're saying that others are better. So either we're saying that the overall insurance industry is terrible, and because the overall insurance industry is terrible, then we need to make sure that we are giving ourselves the best chance of not needing the insurance companies because we are living healthier lives. Does that make sense? Or on the other end, we're saying that, okay, we can find other insurance companies. And if you can find other insurance companies, then that's on you to go with this insurance company. Go find another one that'll insure you. Let's keep going. In
case you missed it there, according to Ben Shapiro, reproductive rights activists are more responsible for killing people than a company that routinely.
And I'm glad that Anna just reminded me of that point. Sorry to cut you off, Anna, because this is what I mean by him trying to politicize it and make it a left versus right issue, and him missing the mark, in my opinion. You're trying to say that, like, you're using this as a way to talk about abortion. Like, you're all of a sudden relating it to, well, it's not like he's one of these abortion, his mission is death, like a lot of these other abortion people. To me, like I said, you're missing the mark. It just shows a certain amount of disconnect, in my opinion. That may have worked if everybody on the right, every conservative, everybody's view was the same as yours on this situation. You may get away with that, where people would excuse it and maybe not even pay attention to it, because the only people that you would turn off are the people that may not be for abortion. You get what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Sometimes we miss the mark, and it's good for people to give their feedback like his audience was doing on a lot of the comments, because that maybe gives you a different perspective. So, none of us are going to be perfect. None of us are going to always have the perfect perspective, always be so in touch to understand how everybody's feeling. But hopefully the feedback will open his eyes a bit.
denies claims for healthcare coverage. In fact, United Healthcare specifically has been found to reject anywhere between 32% to 33% of claims. Keep in mind, like, understand what that means, guys. Okay, that is a ton of people who pay into the system, pay their, monthly payment to United Healthcare, and then once they need that health insurance company to provide coverage for life-saving procedures, they're denied. That's unacceptable. And I can understand the rage people are feeling at this broken system. He also hilariously suggests that.
I agree. It's the rage at the broken system. And if you are a CEO at these insurance companies, understanding the rage of your customer base, that may be something that you want to pay attention to, especially if you're in an industry like insurance that I said earlier, where it's a lot that goes on. Your decisions, it's not whether or not you're going to, you're trying to sell somebody a car and provide them car insurance or apartment insurance where they can go, I don't know. You know what I mean? This is health insurance where people are going to you when they are at their weakest moments, or their families are at their weakest moments, and they are at their most vulnerable moments because they likely can't afford to pay for something that this person needs for their health. If I was a CEO, I would pay very close attention to the anger and rage at the people that I make a lot of money off of. I would pay attention to it.
Bernie Sanders criticizing the system is a form of stochastic terrorism.
This is why socialist, leech, scavenger lingo used by people like Bernie Sanders, if you want to talk about stochastic terrorism, if you want to talk about rhetoric that leads to a higher possibility of violence, when you suggest that everything in American life is unfair and bad and rigged by the system, when you suggest that, and then you suggest that anybody who does business is merely an apparatchik of that system, the result is a support for revolutionary violence. You're raising that temperature. It's going to stop bubbling and it's going to start bursting out into the open.
So I'm uncertain as to what Ben Shapiro expected after he put this video out. I mean, I don't think I even expected that he'd get the backlash that he's received from his own audience members, but the backlash was swift. So I'm going to give you a few examples. One of his viewers writes, this isn't a left versus right issue. It's the working class versus the wealthy, and that's probably why you're trying to pretend it's something it's not.
And maybe these are some more of those situations where people start to realize to not take your political party as seriously as you do. All right. The elites are the elites, whether it's Democrats or whether it's Republicans. And although they each try to pose these conservative values are the way you should be living, so vote for us and support us and we got your back, or they're doing it on the liberal side. They're all just trying to sell you on a particular way that's best for you, but really just so that they can put more money in their pockets and have more power. Maybe y'all should stop pledging such close and tight allegiance to these parties and just take a step back and look at it. Look at my situation. Maybe my situation is a lot closer to that country guy that may be in the lower class, but he got on a MAGA hat while I'm over here with a Black Lives Matter hat. Maybe we have a lot more similarities than me as a Black Lives Matter supporter and I don't support Black Lives Matter. I was just giving y'all an example with the Democrats, and you as a lower class MAGA supporter with the conservatives. I don't know. I'm just saying that we shouldn't be pledging our allegiance to these parties so much, because look at our leaders. They just get it wrong. They get it wrong. They're just doing what's in their best interest and pushing messages that align with their agendas, period. They do not care about your well-being.
Another person writes, as a conservative, I'm sick of rich elitists destroying the family unit, quite literally. I'm proud the left and right have united. I may not vote the same way, but damn it, I can agree we are tired of being pushed around. Another person writes, according to Ben, I went from Trump voter to revolutionary leftist in the span of a month. Another person writes, hate to break it to you, buddy, but
that's it. It's Sunday. I don't usually do the show on Sunday, so pardon me. But that last one, according to Ben, I went from Trump voter to revolutionary leftist in the span of a month. Think about that. Ben Shapiro sitting here and acting as if everybody that voted for Trump just has no empathy or no hatred for this insurance industry. That's what Ben Shapiro is assuming.
leftist, and thus the left who managed to unite two opposing ends of the political spectrum during one of the wrong that you managed to unite two. One other viewer says, imagine being so blatantly in the wrong that you managed to unite two opposing ends of the political spectrum during one of the most divided periods in recent memory. Another person writes, I'm not buying this left versus right crap anymore, Ben. I want healthcare for my family. There's more. Those are just a few examples. So, Cenk, this is something that we've been talking about a lot. There is this populist sentiment among voters on both sides of the political aisle.
All right, Cenk, we'll tap in with you in a few, brother, but we're gonna move on to the next video that I wanted to show y'all. It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon.